What's going on, everybody? Zach's Shrimp Room here. Today we're going to set up a Caridina shrimp tank. Just kind of going through the basics on what you need to do so that way you can keep these little guys. So let's get into it. Alrighty, today we're going to be setting up this 40 breeder. This is all RO water. It's been buffering for about a week, so the pH should be down to 6 or less now. And this is what you want for Caridina. We're gonna kind of do a setup like this. This is the 40-gallon mixed Taiwan B tank. This down here is going to be this is the Coal Tai B tank. This is gonna be a Coal Tiger tank, so all my Super Tigers I don't like, Red Fancy Tigers, Orange Eye, Royal Blue Tigers, maybe even some Tai Bs that came from my Red Fancy Tigers are going to be thrown in here. So a couple of things that you're going to need. Let's just set this up real quick. Sponge filters. Don't use hang-on back filters for your Caridina shrimp. You can if the filter is super fine for the intake, but you can't go wrong with sponge filters. This is free food. Once the tank has been running for a while, all the shrimp will eat off of it. Airline tubing. As you can see, you can never have enough airline tubing. We have some cholla wood. This stuff is soaked for about 4 or 5 days now. I always soak my cholla wood. It's really dirty, and if you don't let it sit, the tank will just become a mess. That's just from where I get my cholla wood from. That's how it always shows up. Turns out it's dirty. And then you're going to want some B shrimp mineral GH. This is going to give the water the minerals, because the TDS in this tank right now should be 0, or at least close to 0. 0. Nope, sorry, 10. It's probably from some lingering water that was left in the tank prior, which is, it's fine. 10 parts per million isn't going to kill anything. But you ideally want to start off with 0. So we're going to start off with putting the sponge filters in, getting that water moving, because this water's been sitting stale for, like I said, better part of a week. So you want the water start moving, then we're going to set up our cholla wood, and then we're going to dose our tank with the minerals it needs. Alright, so we got the cholla wood in there, and we got the 2 sponge filters running. There's a lot of air coming out of there, which is fine. The water kind of goes like this on one side of the tank, and the other side it rotates that way. So that's why I like to put 2 of the big sponge filters in there. So now we got to dose the tank with our B shrimp mineral GH. So what I'll do is I'll take a container, put some water in there. Now in the directions with this, it says to put in 1 little spoon. These come with a spoon. So 1 spoonful per 20 liters. And every 20 liters is about 5 gallons. So I need 8 of these. Come on now, focus in there. Focus in there. Thank you. So we need 8 spoonfuls of this mineral GH to get this tank where it needs to be. Now, with this container of water, I won't put in all 8 deals. I put it in the container to stir it up, and that it helps dilute a little bit, and then I pour it in the tank. So we're gonna do, I think we're gonna do 4. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So now with that, I'm going to take, shoot, where's my little stir deal at? So I'm going to stir this up in here. Now it won't get all the way diluted. Now even if there's chunks in the bottom there when you're done stirring, that's fine. Dump them in the tank because it will dissolve in there. So I'd say that's about good enough. I'll take this and just dump it in the tank. And then I'll re-dump it in there. So there's one, and we got a lot of particles kind of floating around or sitting at the bottom. In about an hour or so, maybe even less, it'll all dissolve. So I'm gonna do that one more time and then we'll check the water parameters. Alrighty, did the tests. GH came between 5 and 6, which is perfect. KH was between 0 and 1. That's where you want that as well. pH was reading about 6.4. So this tank is gonna have to run for maybe another half a week or so. With the water movement, it might, you know, circulate better. Water might move its way into the substrate a little bit better. But eventually the pH should come down. As for TDS, I got my reader here. 119. Let's check over here. 119, okay, 119, that's perfect. I usually don't like it over 130. 119 is awesome. Last couple things that you'll need. I've got a handful of Indian almond leaves I'm gonna throw in there. I'm gonna break down this tank, so I'm gonna take out this moss and throw it in here. And then I think all we'll need to do is instant cycle this tank. And that'll consist of, I'll probably take one of these sponge filters, dip it in this tank, squeeze it a bunch of times, and that'll instantly cycle it. So whenever the pH drops down, I can start putting shrimp in. I think that's it. Yeah, Indian almond leaves. We need some vegetation, the moss, instant cycle, wait for the pH to drop, and I think we're golden after that. One last thing that I like to do when I set up a brand new tank is I will actually put in some Bacter AE. This is this is basically powder food that disperses around the tank, and food will lay everywhere. That way when you put new shrimp in, obviously there's not going to be any algae in the tank or whatsoever for them to feed on. So the Bacter AE, that'll let them graze around, and that should hold them off and feeding them twice a week, 3 times a week. That'll get them going until, especially, you know, the algae starts building up and your tank's going. Like these guys here, look at all the algae in these. It's free food, so why not keep it? Well, if you guys like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.